Well, new controversy over a woman's right to defend herself. It comes as the Colorado House of Representatives narrowly passes a package of gun control bills, including one bill that would make it illegal for people with concealed weapons permits to carry guns on college campuses. One state Democratic lawmaker argues that women who fear they are about to be raped really shouldn't have access to guns because they're apparently too unreliable to know what's actually happening to them.
That's why we have call boxes. That's why we have safe zones. That's why we have the whistles. Because you just don't know who you're going to be shooting at. And you don't know if you feel like you're going to be raped, or if you feel like someone's been following you around, or if you feel like you're in trouble, and when you may actually not be, that you pop out that gun and you pop around at somebody.
Well, in the wake of the controversy that followed that remark, he has since said that he is sorry if he offended anyone with his remarks, but he stands by the basic sentiment. At the same time, the Public Safety Department at the University of Colorado, at Colorado Springs, put out a bulletin. It was moments after the House of Representatives passed this bill saying no more guns on college campuses. And so the University of Colorado puts out this bulletin advising women on what to do if they are threatened with a rape. Among the tips, tell your attacker that you have a disease or are menstruating, or that vomiting or urinating may also convince the attacker to leave you alone. And you can imagine what the reaction has been in the wake of all of this. Joining me now to discuss it, Leslie Marshall, who's a syndicated radio talk show host and a Fox News contributor, and Chris Plant, who is host of The Chris Plant Show. Now, let's just start with Representative Salazar, a state lawmaker from Colorado. I understand what he was trying to say. He was trying to say you can make a mistake and you can shoot somebody who isn't actually trying to hurt you because you're scared and you're acting out of fear. But it came out all wrong. And the notion that, I'll start with you on this, Leslie, the notion that women in particular are so hysterical, this is what his critics are suggesting he was saying, that they can't really be trusted to adequately judge when they're about to be raped and when they're not. He hasn't exactly backed off of that notion that women can't be trusted to make the right judgment call.
And Megan, this is one of the reasons I always say I'm a woman before I'm a Democrat, because I have heard men on the left and the right make disgusting and offensive remarks when it comes to women, when it comes to our emotions, when it comes to our ability, whether it's able to handle a combat role, whether it comes to rape, being able to get pregnant if you're raped, etc. So I am quite frankly not surprised, because to me this is not a political issue. It is a gender issue. And this is the way many men, left and right, feel about women. And in 2013, it's disgusting. It's shameful.
Chris, I remember on campus at Syracuse University, where I went, there was a huge spike in rapes when I was a student there. And all we had were those call boxes that he's referring to. So there were these blue lights with they looked like telephones across campus. And if you found yourself being chased or under attack by a rapist, because you certainly couldn't have a gun on campus, the only option was to run and try to pull the phone off of the phone hook. You can't carry mace, you can't do anything legally on campus there or in most places here in New York State. So the answer from this guy and the House in Colorado is, the college campus in Colorado Springs is saying urinate on your attacker. That's what women are left to consider.
Yeah, the whole thing is pretty amazing, isn't it? And Leslie, I think it would be a political issue rather than a gender issue if the gentleman involved were a Republican and he was talking about legitimate fear of rape. No, well, okay, but, if it was legitimate fear of rape that he was talking about, maybe you wouldn't do it. That certainly would be the storyline if this guy was a Republican. It would be emblematic of everything the Republicans say all the time. But he does sound like, in these rules that they're offering up for self-defense, which is not self-defense at all, are absurd. They sound like they're coming from the University of Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. They sound like they're coming from the 1920s in the United States of America. And the idea that the best way to keep women safe is to disarm them, announce that they will be disarmed, so there's no deterrence whatsoever, run to a call box and then wait for somebody to show up and save you, which will probably be a man with a gun or possibly a woman with a gun. I'm not sure whether this guy is aware, as you mentioned, there are women in the military, there are women who are police officers. women tend to shoot better than men. If you know anything about shooting on ranges and so on, women are naturally, for some reason that no one can explain to me, better shots than men as a rule.
Well, and the statistics show that in the vast majority of cases where a person pulls out a gun, they just brandish it, you know, or if they fire a warning shot up, or they don't actually shoot the person. Usually people use it to threaten the bad guy coming at them as opposed to necessarily shooting them. But Leslie, let me ask, I understand again that the university is trying to say, I think, if you're in the situation where you are confronted with a rapist, these are things, desperate measures you might consider to try to stop the rape from taking place, right? I think that's what they're trying to say by these crazy suggestions. But the irony comes on the fact that they did it moments after effectively disarming women who have the right to concealed carry in Colorado from having those guns on college campuses, potentially.
Right.
Well, colleges throughout the country have the right to set their own rules, just as states throughout the country. Not every state in the United States has conceal and carry permits. Let me give you an example as somebody who was raped at 19 years of age, and a gun would not have helped me. Person comes from behind you, purse drops on the ground, guns in the purse. I have taken self-defense courses, and one of the things that I have learned is if you don't have a gun, access to your gun is taken away from you or away from your body. You do have weapons, and some of what they're talking about is accurate, some is crazy. One, your mouth, scream, the heel of your shoe into his private area, into his foot. And I say he because most rapists are men. Your keys, ladies always walk, as I do, defensively with the keys in between your fingers, ready to go into the eyes, scrape the face with the fingernails. Hairspray can be used as well as pepper spray in some states legally and on some campuses legally. So there are things other than guns. Now, I believe everybody has a right to their Second Amendment, but there are ways to protect yourself. Years ago, they would say, lay down and let him do it so you'll live. No, that's
well, there's
not
some
what
of
you do.
that in here too.
Like
there's some of that in here too. Number 5 on their list is if your life is in danger, passive resistance may be your best defense. And they also warn, first and foremost, be realistic about your ability to protect yourself. Chris?
Well, I mean, that would certainly be my approach. If I had a daughter, anyone that I'm concerned about, and I have actually bought mace for women, I recommend self-defense courses, whether it's martial arts or whatever it is that you're comfortable with.
It can be very empowering.
In learning to defend yourself, and part of it is definitely psychological. I also advocate, weapons for women. Women are not famous for going around and using weapons offensively, but defensively, and disarming a population of young women and men on campus. I mean, you mentioned a string of rapes at Syracuse when you were there as a student. It is a target for a would-be rapist, and to announce that the state of Colorado, women are allowed to carry guns, but not on college campuses, is an invitation to psychotics. It's exactly the opposite of what you ought to be doing if you're interested in preventing this sort of thing. So, I mean, I'm a big Second Amendment person. I'm a big supporter of self-defense and learning to defend yourself, and certainly for young women. And you want the man who is a menace, who is a threat, to be unsure, to be afraid of the woman, because she may surprise you, and even if she's not carrying a gun.
That was part of the problem when they disclosed the gun owners in these counties in New York and the people who weren't gun owners. It's like, the people who aren't gun owners don't necessarily want to telegraph that to the world. One other safety tip, because Leslie raised such good ones. The other thing they always say is, no matter who you are, if somebody's attacking you, never let them get you to the second location. Don't get in the car. Whatever you can do to stop him dragging you.
Absolutely.
Don't go to the second location, no matter what you have to do. Nothing good ever happens at the second location. All right, you guys, thank you both so much, Leslie and Chris.
Thank you, man.
Thanks.